Hey, this is Mrs. Bond. Today we're going to talk about main ideas using titles and subheadings. So the first thing I want you to do is open up your big book to page 156 and read Energy in the Ecosystem. So go ahead and pause this video and then come back as soon as you read it. Okay, so once you've read, we're going to talk about the main ideas of each section and then go back and do the main idea of the whole passage using subheadings. So if I look at the first subheading, it's called the Living Woodlands. So what I want to do is I want to make sure when I write a main idea for this section that I refer back to the subheading, because the subheading is a text feature that tells us what this whole section is about. So it kind of already gives us an idea about the main idea. So if I were to go back and read that, I could write a main idea that says, organism in the woodlands, see how I used the word from the subheading, are able to live, I used another word from the subheading, because of different factors that work together. And that whole section is about living and non-living factors that work together in order to help organisms that live in the woodlands. So then I go to the next section, and the next section has a subheading of forest food chain. And if I read that section, I see that the forest food chain, see how I used that in my main idea, contains producers and consumers. So I used information from the subheading and from that passage, and it says it's talking about the different types of producers and consumers in the forest food chain. And then the last subheading is back to the cycle. And it talks about how decomposers help the food chain cycle back again, because decomposers break down the dead waste back into the ground so that producers can produce food again. So if I use all those subheadings and go back to the title, which is Energy in the Ecosystem, I can use the title and what I just figured out to say, energy travels in an ecosystem, so I used two words from the title, via the food chain. So we call that title power. We use the titles to help us with our main idea, and we can use those main ideas that I just wrote to do a summary. We could summarize the whole passage by saying, organisms in the woodlands are able to live because of different factors that work together. The forest food chain has producers and consumers, and decomposers help the food chain cycle back again. And that's how energy travels in an ecosystem via the food chain. I just gave a pretty good summary of the whole selection by using the subheadings and the title.